Hey, how's it going, fight fans? Welcome to mindforcombat. If you're new to this channel, my name's Rohan, and it's my platform where I do fight sports related content. If you're new here, why don't you help me grow my platform? All you have to do is subscribe to the channel, like the video if you like it, and maybe hit that bell icon so you get notified every time I upload a video. With that said, in this video I'll be breaking down the upcoming UFC main event between Tyron Woodley and Gilbert Burns. Now, this is an exciting and very interesting main event. For one thing, Tyron Woodley is coming back for his first fight since losing to Kamaru Usman. Now, yes, he was meant to be back when he fought Leon Edwards. That unfortunately didn't pan out because of the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. I hope all you guys are staying safe and secure in your houses, and if you guys need anyone to talk to, remember to reach out to me. I'm always here. We all need someone, so feel no shame in reaching out to me, even if it's just a vent. I'm always here. I've got your back, all of you guys. So yeah, Tyron Woodley was meant to be fighting Leon Edwards in what was going to be a big fight, his comeback fight. And it was going to be very important for Tyron Woodley in this stage of his career because, of course, he's getting older now. He's 38 years old, and you've got to wonder what is remaining. So by fighting a top contender in his hometown, he's going to re-establish himself as saying, look, I'm still a championship fighter. I had an off night against Kamaru Usman, but I'm still just as bad as I always was. That didn't pan out because of everything that was going on, and stepped in Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns was like, look, I want to fight Tyron Woodley. Give me that fight, give me that fight, give me that fight. And he kept on banging the door, banging the door, banging the door. Well, guess what? Someone answered. Gilbert Burns has got his breakout fight against Tyron Woodley, and that if he ever wants to shine and become a contender in the division, now's the time. Fighting a former world champion, one fight removed from losing the belt, is not a bad way to do it, especially when you're already 3-0 in that weight class on a 5-fight win streak in total. And this is a very, very interesting fight, and the winner of this is potentially one win away from a shot at Kamaru Usman. So very exciting time for the winner here. So without further ado, let's get into the breakdown. Tyron Woodley, as I mentioned, is 38 years old. That makes him 5 years older than Gilbert Burns. At 38, being a fighter that relies on his explosiveness and reflexes, you got to wonder what Tyron Woodley's going to be like in this fight, especially considering he hasn't fought for over a year. Tyron Woodley's generally a very inactive dude. He doesn't really fight too much. Of course, he had that championship year where he defended his belt 4 times in a year. But essentially, other than that, he's been fighting once a year. If you think he had almost a year off before he fought Darren Till, fought Kamaru Usman in the following March, so that was October to March, and then he's had over a year off from this. So he's not been very active, and you got to wonder if at 38 that's going to start to impact his performance, or maybe even help his performance. Gilbert Burns is 33, which is, he's no spring chicken, but at 33, considering this is the time where he's finding his groove, breaking out in his career, I believe he's coming into his prime, and actually he's got a good 3 to 4 years of his prime to maximize his earning potential, and then this could be a great place to start. Tyron Woodley has a professional mixed martial arts record of 19 wins, 4 losses and 1 draw, and he fights Gilbert Burns, who has a professional mixed martial arts record of 18 wins and 3 losses. The difference is that Tyron Woodley has been in championship fight after championship fight. Gilbert Burns, this is the biggest fight of his career. Luckily for him, some of the pressure's off because there's no fans in the arena, so let's see how that impacts his performance. Tyron Woodley stands at 5'9", which makes him an inch shorter than Gilbert Burns, who's surprisingly jumping up from lightweight. Now, when you look at Gilbert Burns, you wonder how on earth he ever made lightweight, but yeah, he's actually an inch taller. But he will still have a 3-inch reach disadvantage, as Tyron Woodley has a 74-inch reach and Gilbert Burns has a 71-inch reach. So that's very, very interesting, and that's something we all got to take note of. When we're talking about their fighting styles, Tyron Woodley's obviously great at everything. He's got great explosive wrestling, big power, but he's a guy that kind of likes to get into that groove of counter-striking. Yes, he can explode and throw great overhand rights, but Tyron Woodley's style is very difficult to kind of pinpoint. He's got a skill set and he can do everything. Sometimes he would like to become a counter-striker. Depending on the fight, he'll game plan it and fight accordingly. In this fight, I got to imagine that he's going to be fighting counter-striking, kind of seeing what Gilbert Burns is going to be doing, and he's going to be utilising his wrestling to keep it standing where I think he will enjoy the advantage. Gilbert Burns is obviously a world championship Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, but he's got really good stand-up. He's all-round. He just finished Damian Maia, of course. He's got good power in his hands, respectable power. He's no brutal knockout, as I'll say. Woodley carries much more power. But Gilbert Burns has got a well-rounded game. He can do everything. He's got good stand-up and he's got good ground game, but where he shines is in his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Let's talk about some of the key wins. Now, Tyron Woodley is considered by many to be one of the greatest welterweights of all time, and I can certainly see why, particularly when you're looking at his resume. He's got wins dating all the way back to his wins over Paul Daly. Of course, that was an incredible win. He beat Carlos Condit when Condit was a contender. Stopped Condit with a leg kick when he bust Carlos Condit's knee. So that was a very, very impressive performance. Of course, he knocked out Robbie Lawler. He beat Kelvin Gastelum. He's beaten the likes of Damian Maia when Damian Maia was on a 7-fight win streak. He's beaten Stephen Thompson, Darren Till, who's a great, exceptional fighter as well. And Tyron Woodley's been around there, fought some of the best in the world. Gilbert Burns has got some good wins as well. Of course, nowhere near the caliber of Tyron Woodley's wins, but he's beaten Damian Maia, of course, a more older age version of Damian Maia. He's also beaten the likes of Gunnar Nelson. Gunnar Nelson's a talented fighter, and he beat the undefeated at the time, Alexei Kanchenko. That makes him 3-0 at welterweight, and he's got some good wins at lightweight as well. So he's a good all-round fighter with some good, solid performances. The issues for Tyron Woodley coming into this fight is going to be his age, and the fact that he can go into cruise control, the fact that he can turn up and look like a deer in headlights sometimes. Sometimes he just freezes in the fight, and you've got to worry if he's going to do that in this fight against a guy like Gilbert Burns, who will most certainly take advantage of that. For Gilbert Burns, this issue is going to be his size. I believe that Tyron Woodley's the naturally much bigger, thicker man than him. How's he going to deal with fighting a true massive welterweight who's as dynamic and as explosive as Tyron Woodley is? The X factor for Tyron Woodley is going to be his size and his power, of course his championship experience. And for Gilbert Burns, the X factor is going to be the fact that he's still hungry. He hasn't been at the top of the mountain and he's pushing towards it. And of course his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is brilliant. Let's get into the prediction. This is an interesting fight and a really fun one. See, if this was 2 or 3 years ago, I would pick Tyron Woodley 10 times out of 10, but this isn't 2 or 3 years ago. This is a Tyron Woodley who hasn't fought in over a year. He's 38 years old, has lost his momentum, and he's in there with our hungry Gilbert Burns, who's 3-0 in the division, been active, and he's, got all his momentum, and he truly believes he can win this fight. Stylistically, I like Tyron Woodley in this. I like Tyron Woodley to keep this fight standing, utilising his incredible wrestling, his great dynamic stand-up to cause problems to Gilbert Burns, who, whilst he had good stand-up, I believe Tyron Woodley has a nice, decided advantage over him on the feet. And of course, Tyron Woodley hits very hard, and I believe he'll be able to make impact every time he connects. Where this fight will get interesting as the fight goes on, yes, Tyron Woodley has proven he can go 25 minutes, but I believe he's proven he can go 25 minutes by showing that, by being very methodical in how he fights. In my opinion, what we're going to see is that Tyron Woodley will dominate the early rounds. I believe he wins the first 3 or 4 rounds. Okay, I believe he's going to be able to keep the fight on the feet. I believe he's going to make a big impact on the feet. Every time he connects, he's going to earn Gilbert Burns' respect. And I don't believe that Gilbert Burns will be able to, hurt or rock Tyron Woodley on the feet. Tyron Woodley, who's historically been, cast iron chinned in a lot of ways, and is a very, very durable fighter. Is Tyron Woodley going to show up and be the best version of himself? There's no way I can know. Okay, there's no way I can know what version of Tyron Woodley is going to show up. I don't believe even Tyron Woodley knows. But for the sake of this breakdown, I'm breaking this fight down as though the best version of Tyron Woodley shows up, and I believe that the best version of Tyron Woodley is going to dominate Gilbert Burns the first 3 or 4 rounds, and maybe even if he doesn't get the stoppage, he may even lose the 5th round, but he'll win the fight comfortably, or he'll get the finish within the first 3 or 4 rounds. Tyron Woodley is incredible. So Fight Fans, for my official prediction, I'm going with Tyron Woodley to make a statement in this fight and show the world that he is still around and still credible and still talented. Would it surprise me if Tyron Woodley doesn't show up correct, and then Gilbert Burns is able to utilize that to his advantage, use his experience, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and well-rounded game, and his mixed martial arts experience to get the win? No, of course that won't surprise me. This is mixed martial arts. Anything can happen, but I've got a lean on Tyron Woodley to get the win here. So Fight Fans, I'm going with Tyron Woodley. So guys, why don't you guys comment below? Let me know how you see this fight, guys. Let me know if you're excited about this fight. It's a great fight. I can't wait for it. Happy that the UFC is back and running again, and I'm happy to be back on camera again. I hope you guys are happy to be seeing my ugly mug again. And thank you guys. Thank you for watching. I'm Rohan, and this is Mind for Combat.